What's up, y'all? I got a phone call from somebody saying y'all was looking for me and Angela. This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup edition, but in the daytime. I had to get this story out there for y'all because I got plans tonight. This is Like Mother, Like Daughter, Part 1. It's so dark in the room, and she's so afraid. She's shaking, she's sweating. All she can see is the brown of her little sister's eyes with the gold flecks, while her sister's holding on to her waist as tight as she can, and she's got her arms wrapped around her. She can hear arguing in the other room. A woman is yelling and cursing, going between English and Spanish, and a man is arguing back but trying to keep his voice down. And suddenly she hears the woman say, "If it wasn't for her and her kids, then none of this would be happening. It's like you wish you never met me. Do you regret me? Do you regret our daughters? I hate you. I hate her. And I hate those little..." She heard what sounded like a slap, and then her father's voice saying, "I'm sorry, Maria." Then she heard a woman's voice saying, "Just get out. You and those brats. Just get out of my house." And just as he opened the door, she looked across the room where she saw another little girl who looked a whole lot like her, with the same brown eyes with the gold flecks, holding on to a little girl the same way she was holding on to her little sister. Her father ran into the room, grabbed up their things, grabbed them, and ran out of the house. They held on to each other and cried in the back seat of their car, while their father comforted them, apologized to them, and reassured them that they would never ever have to go back to that house again, and they'd never have to witness anything like they witnessed that night. Suddenly, Angela woke up from that dream, startled, riding on a long tree-lined street with Q at the wheel of the car. Q looked over at her and said, "Mrs. Washington, you good?" Angela said, "Yeah, I think so. I just had this reoccurring nightmare, and I just realized that all of this time I've been dreaming about the last time I saw my father alive." Q said, "Want to talk about it?" Angela said, "No." Q said, "Okay, Miss Washington, whatever works for you." Angela said, "Q, call me Angie." At that moment, they arrived at a huge gate off the beaten path in Denver, Colorado. And Q said, "Welcome home, Angie." So, at the same time, Miss Jessica exits the elevator on the second floor of the firm. She walks over to Amelia, Marcus's receptionist, and asks her, "Is Mr. Washington in yet?" Amelia says, "No, Miss Wynn. He's actually going to be out for the day." At that moment, Jessica's co-worker, the chief of finance and accounting, Bruce Middleton, stepped out of his office suite, saw Jessica, and called her over. "Jess, how was your vacation, love?" Jessica said, It was good, Bruce. Thanks." "Really? Come with me in my office for a second. I need to talk to you about something." So Jessica follows Bruce into his office, and he says, "So, I guess you didn't think I was going to notice that you and Marcus was on vacation at the same time. Where were y'all?" Jessica says, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." Bruce says, "Do I look stupid? Do I look like I was born yesterday?" Jessica says, "I don't know." Bruce says, "Don't play with me." He grabs her by her shirt, pulls her real close to him, and says, "I know there's something going on with you and Marcus. And when I find out, it's going to be me and you." Jessica says, "That's really not your business if there is something going on with me and Marcus. I'm not your woman. You are a married man." Bruce says, "And so is he." And Jessica says, "Whatever I might have going on with anybody else isn't any of your business, because you are spoken for and I am a single woman." Bruce says, "Okay, so you want me to believe that you and Marcus weren't on vacation together?" Jessica says, "Clearly we weren't on vacation together, because I'm back at work and he isn't." Bruce says, "So you want me to believe that it's just a coincidence that y'all were on vacation at the same time?" Jessica says, "I don't really give a flying." Bruce says, "Watch your mouth. I don't care what you believe, Bruce." Jessica pulls away from him and starts walking towards the door. Bruce says, "Don't walk out of this door. I'm not done talking to you." Jessica says, "Well, I'm done talking to you." She pulls the door open and Bruce runs up behind her and pushes the door closed. He whispers in her ear, "If you weren't with him for this past week, prove it." Bruce pushes Jessica's body up against the door and says, "You know what I want." Jessica says, "And you know fraternization is frowned upon at the firm. We could both lose our jobs." Bruce says, "Sleeping with me is how you got this job. And if you want to keep this job, you'll keep sleeping with me." Now, I know what y'all thinking. That sounds a lot like SA. But the thing about it is, Jessica love that. She loves juggling two men and keeping it from them. She loves having two men at the same place. She loves the idea of getting busy with Bruce in the same office that Marcus works in as retaliation for the fact that he's not coming into the office. He's not returning any of her phone calls. He ruined the last few days of their trip. Shoot, she's horny because they didn't get it in the last few days because he was so worried about his wife and not focused on her, which was what the purpose of the trip was about. So when he says to her, "You know what to do. Pull that skirt up. Pull them panties to the side and assume the position." All she did was get all warm and tingly. She did not in any way feel threatened. Jessica put the lock on the door, pushed past Bruce, followed his instructions, placed her hands on the desk, and indulged in a little bit of OPP. When they were finished, she walked her little nasty tail to the restroom, cleaned up a little bit, returned to her office, called Marcus one more time. He did not answer the phone. So she decided to text her best friend. And girl, we got the screenshots. Here they go right there. While she waited for a response, she started reminiscing about what happened when she went to her mother's house to pick up Melissa that morning. When she walked in, Melissa ran to her all excited, calling her name. "Mommy, Mommy." Melissa threw her arms around her and gave a big hug and said, "I missed you, Mommy. Where's Daddy?" Jessica said, "He's not here." Melissa said, "But you said he was going to come home with us when you came back from your trip." Jessica said, "I know, baby. I know. He'll be home with us in just a little while." Maria looked at her daughter and just shook her head. Jessica told Melissa to go into the other room and get her stuff together. While Melissa was in the other room, Jessica and her mother had a little come to Jesus conversation. Now, Jessica's mother, Maria, knows that her daughter is messing with a married man, but she has no idea that it's two of them, or that one of them is married to her sister. She tells Jessica that she needs to stop her conniving ways before she loses everything: her man, her child, her job, and her mind. Jessica tells her mother that she could never lose it all because she learned from her mother's mistakes. You eliminate the woman so you can keep it all. Maria said, "Baby, at some point you'll realize that it is not worth your soul to gain the whole world." Jessica said, "Maybe you should have realized that before you killed my father and my sister." Maria said, "Now you know that was never my intention. You know that. My hands were tied, and your father, he left me no choice. He was planning to leave me and take you girls, and I was never going to see you again. He was going to do to me what that woman Cheryl did to him." Jessica said, "Right. And then instead, what happened? Cheryl and her kids, they got everything. And I lost my father and my sister, and you lost your mind. You would have been better off just coming clean and telling everybody what you did so that the guilt wouldn't have ate you up and you wouldn't have spent years in and out of psychiatric facilities. And I wouldn't have spent my childhood in and out of foster homes." Maria said, "I was fighting demons and trying to fight for the only child that I had left. And you're going to hold that against me? You said that you forgave me." Jessica said, "I have forgiven you. But how dare you judge how I choose to handle what I went through because of you? You let them take everything from us. They took Daddy, they took Missy, they took the inheritance, they took everything. And now I'm going to take everything from them." Well, all of this is going on with Jessica. She's reminiscing in her office.
Marcus is driving all over town looking for his wife. When he went to the business, everything was going on just the way he expected. The only thing that changed was that when he went to his wife's office, her door was closed, locked, and his key did not work. He looked everywhere until he found Bernie, and when he found her, she said she had no idea where Angela was, that Mrs. Washington told her that she would be unavailable for a few days, that when she came in, the locks were changed on the office. She didn't have a key either. Poor Marcus. He's called everybody he can think of. He called Angela's sister Stephanie, no answer. He called her best friend Regina, no answer. Finally, he calls his mother, Miss Brenda. She answers, "Hello?" He says, "Mom, thank God you answered the phone. Have you seen or heard from Angela?" Miss Brenda says, "Well, hey, baby, how are you? Are you back from your trip?" Marcus says, "Mom, I don't have time for small talk. I need to know where my wife is." Miss Brenda says, "Baby, I think you should come by the house so we can talk."